Next up, we're dealing with the second and third challenges in the mutability lesson. The second challenge says, true or false, will x, y, and z point to the same location in memory? We have x equals to 4, y equals to 2 to the second. It looks like x is going to point to the integer 4, y is also going to point to the integer 4, and z is 16.0 to the 0.5. Or the square root of 16, which is equal to 4, but it is expressed in terms of floats. So my intuition is that it will actually not point to the same place. The first two will point to the same place, right? 4 is physically located in memory. Those are immutable. But the value of z is not. We'll go ahead and see if that's true. And we can see that as true. There is a difference between the value of 4, that's an integer, and the value of 4.0, which is a float. And they will have a different location in memory. That is because the integer 4 is immutable. Both of these variables, x and y, will point to the same memory location, whereas z will represent the float 4.0, which will be held in a different memory location. Now, moving on to the third challenge, we have a small change to the code that we have here. And in this case, we're saying, what is, right, x to the fourth, our x is equal to 4, an integer, right, again, an integer. And then lastly, right, we're now casting an integer, the integer 16 to the 0.5 power. Now let's go ahead, let's take this over to a REPL that I have open, and let's just explore this before we start making answers. And this is a great example for what you should be doing, is instead of going to these videos to look at the solution, you should actually just try the code yourself. So let's print z. It says 4.0. That says, to me, it seems like it's going to be a float. Let's go ahead and double check that. I can see that it is a float. Again, I'm dealing with the same problem that I had previously. And I can see that these again, right, we've cast int 16.0 to an int, but then we took it to the exponent of another float. So it's turned back into a float. The math is completed, and then it's saved as a float. Now, if we wanted to represent it as an integer, we could do so with the integer function. We would just want to take that integer function and wrap it around the entire mathematical expression this time, right? So I'm saying that I can have this integer, right? First, inside my parentheses, I want to find the square root of 16, which is 4.0, and then I want to make that an integer. And if I run this, now I can see it's an integer. Now they would all three variables, x, y, and z, would point to the same memory location, that immutable integer 4. So that is the second and third challenge for mutability. Our next lesson is about function parameters, and I look forward to seeing you over there.